Hello friends and welcome to another 3-minute Game Pass. I'm Nathan and today I'm going to tell you if this Game Pass game is worth your time and bandwidth. Today's game is Crackdown 3. It's time to bring international law to a city run by corporate stooges. Play as Terry Crews with his real-life abilities to jump 18 feet in the air and punch a man into the stratosphere. Is it worth becoming Terry? Crackdown 3 is a play anywhere game, which means it plays on Xbox, PC, and mobile. It does have an upgrade to 1x for better frame rate, 4K HDR, all that good stuff. And to beat the game takes about 6 to 10 hours depending on how much of the side stuff you're going to do. So what exactly is Crackdown 3? Well, it's the third game in a series that is an open world shooter and traversal game where you play as a government cop agent person trying to rid the city of New Providence from its corporate overlords. It follows the gameplay of the previous Crackdown games to a T, which is skills for kills system. What that means is killing an enemy using a particular skill, say shooting, driving, explosives, melee, gives you XP in that particular skill, which then ranks up and increases its power. For agility, which is another skill, you have to climb tall buildings to find orbs, which increase things like jump height, in-air dashes, and so on, whereas killing enemies and getting gun skill will like increase your aiming ability and the ability to target specific body parts, stuff like that. The progression system rewards you for doing pretty much anything, and the upgrades are significant, making you go from a mildly overpowered tough guy, aka Old Spice commercial Terry Crews, into a virtual demigod, destroyer of everything, aka normal real-life Terry Crews. Within the city, your goal is to complete a number of similar objectives which are each tied to a boss. For example, blowing up chemical plants is tied to a chemical engineering boss. After doing enough damage, the boss will emerge and then you kill them, so on and so forth until all the bosses are dead and the city is saved. There's also a ton of side stuff to do in this game like foot and car races, tons of collectibles, and so on. This is basically an open world, objective-based shooting game with an emphasis on traversal and being rewarded by doing pretty much anything. So what I like about Crackdown 3? Well, the Crackdown core system is still addicting. You're always progressing towards something no matter what you do, and the upgrades are significant, which makes it feel really good once you rank up. Additionally, the shooting, particularly explosives, feel real great to use. It uses kind of an auto-aim for pretty much everything, including throwing grenades, which means you can do some crazy amounts of mayhem if you have like a bunch of cars together and you throw grenades. Pretty great. And lastly, this is a good power fantasy experience. You go from being just slightly overpowered to being incredibly overpowered by the end of the game, which is really fun. When it comes to the bad, I feel like this game's core gameplay loop is still stuck in 2007 and there wasn't really any actual improvements. Additionally, the world feels empty and bland. There's not a lot of denseness to it, and the visual style is pretty samey throughout the entire city. And lastly, the activities are really repetitive and they're not particularly exciting after doing the first one. There's only so many chemical plants I can blow up when it's like the same chemical plant I've blown up the last 18 times. Judge no games here on a 3-point scale. Must play, maybe consider, don't bother. I do think Crackdown 3 is a maybe consider, but just barely. My main issue with this game is it's incredibly repetitive and it feels stuck in the past when it comes to its game design, controls, combat flow. Basically everything feels old and outdated. Basically it hasn't changed since the first game. It's still a ton of mindless fun, but I'll be honest and say I fell off this game pretty quickly and you might do the same. But if you're in the mood to just blow up a bunch of stuff as Terry Crews, you could do worse. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching and go out there and enjoy Crackdown 3.